A federal high court in Lagos on Friday sentenced two ex-officials of the Independent National Electoral Commission (INEC), Christian Nwosu and Tijani Bashir, to 7 years imprisonment each. The convicts were charged with $264.8 million gratification and money laundering. They received the gratification from a former Minister of Petroleum Resources, Diezani, in the build-up to the 2015 general elections. Nwosu and Bashir were prosecuted by the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission (EFCC). Justice Mohammed Idris, who has been elevated to the Court of Appeal, concluded the case on fiat on Friday. The convicts were officials of INEC expected to conduct themselves as impartial umpires in carrying out their activities. I understand it to be the mission of INEC to serve as an independent and effective election management body that is committed to the conduct of free, fair and credible elections for sustainable democracy in Nigeria. These convicts, by their conduct, acted in breach of the set objectives. Their actions were a disgrace to the institution and a threat to democracy. INEC officials must be made to understand that their conducts must be within the ambit of law, and that anyone who breaches the law would be dealt with to the full extent of law, the judge held. He said that Nigeria should not be allowed to descend into anarchy, despondency, financial, political or moral infamy by the conduct of an official of government. This country cannot afford an unhealthy electoral body as we go into the forthcoming elections. INEC must note that this country deserves a credible election. Anyone that acts contrary to law will be dealt with. The country only needs those with indomitable courage and impeccable political will to perform this duty, and those who play a noble role must be identified. Evil communication, they say, corrupts good manners. In light of the Electoral, the court will tamper justice with mercy to the extent only permitted by the law. Again, a strong message must be sent to INEC that the eyes of the world is on it, the entire nation is watching, and those who decide to act contrary to their code of office will be identified. Idris said that when identified, such people should be prosecuted and severely punished, if found guilty. It is in this circumstance and in the light of all that have been said in the Electoral that the court hereby sentences the convicts as follows. For the first and second convicts, you are hereby sentenced to 7 years imprisonment each on count 1, 7 years on count 2, 5 years on count 3, and 5 years on count 4. For the second convict, Mr. Bashir, you are hereby sentenced to 7 years each on counts 5 to 8. Both convicts are sentenced to 7 years each on count 9. All sentences are to run concurrently, Idris held. He ordered forfeiture, to the federal government, of 2 landed property in Delta, belonging to Nwosu and seized by the EFCC and worth N5 million and N20 million, respectively. The judge also ordered that N5 million recovered from him should be forfeited to the federal government. Idris also ordered forfeiture, to the government, of Bashir's the landed property at No. 6 Umi Street, Wuse, Abuja, valued at N27 million. Earlier, Nwosu's counsel, Mr. Victor Opera, prayed the court to temper justice with mercy, saying that his client was a first-time offender. My lord, he is a 64-year-old man, father of 4, I beg your lordship to take his ailing health condition into consideration. Furthermore, he has served the federal government for 35 years, Opera said. Mr. K.I. Marcus, counsel to Bashir, adopted the submission of Opera, adding that Bashir lost his wife in October 2018 and had 4 children to provide for. The news agency of Nigeria, NAN, reports that the EFCC charged the ex-officials along with one Isa Adedoyin, who had been convicted by the court after he pleaded guilty to the charge. The EFCC said that the convicts ought to know that the money they collected from Alison Madueke formed part of proceeds of an unlawful act. The ex-officials were rearraigned after their co-accused, Adedoyin, changed his plea by admitting complicity in the offenses. Nwosu and Bashir maintained their pleas of not guilty and began defense on September 19, 2018, and September 21, 2018, respectively. After conclusion of trial, parties adopted their final addresses on November 8, 2018, and the court adjourned until January 23 for judgment.